Hello there. Yes, it's me, Darth Mark, from the Star Wars Toy Podcast. Today, I just want to talk about something that's not related to toys, and because you listen to my toy podcast to hear about toys and not me talk about politics or anything like that, I thought I'd just do this one-off. Well, it might not be a one-off. I might do a few of them. It's just a little extra bit of a rant. And like I said, I don't want to put it on the toy podcast because that's a toy podcast. This is going to be a rant about those who diverge from what they're meant to be. There are a lot of YouTube creators out there that have divulged recently. I'm not naming any names, but they brought politics into it and talking about movies and things like that. Used to listen to a podcast. It's Star Wars Toy Podcast. It was very, very good, actually. It was quite professional. There was a couple of guys who used to do a weekly one. And they started talking about the films. I think it was around about the Last Jedi time. And they just started reviewing the films, and I thought, this is supposed to be a toy podcast, not a film review. There's so many Star Wars podcasts out there that talk about the movies. Why you're supposed to be a different podcast. Your listeners have downloaded your podcast to listen to you talk about toys, not about the movies. Yes, I know it was all in relation. It was Star Wars, blah blah blah. But it gets me that these YouTubers that have started with toy videos, and now they're going on to other things and dissing the movies. This is what gets me today. The two most popular things on YouTube, and I'm not in any way jealous. I'm trying to big up my YouTube. I'm trying to make it as big as I can. I know it's a niche market that I've got Star Wars toys in particular, but there are channels out there that do toys and they do really well. I just want to big up mine and do as best as I can. But there are the ones that have women in it. And again, I'm not dissing women. I love them. But they're very attractive, and the content is probably not what the guys or anybody who's watching are watching for. I'm not saying anything against them. They're doing really well. I'm not patronising them or anything like that. But it's the one thing. Well, there's two main reasons why people watch YouTube videos: pretty girls, and the current fad at the moment is moaning about everything. And they're supposed to be fans of these shows they're talking about. They're dissing all the time. Did I just say dissing? I'm not going to say that again. There are certain YouTubers that have figures pinned up on the wall behind them. Figures of Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars. And then they just pull the show apart. Yeah, I know it's a difficult time for, especially Doctor Who. It wasn't brilliant, and the last episode pretty much ruined everything that happened in 57 years prior. But I'm a fan of Doctor Who. Yes, it's got problems, but I'm still going to watch it. All these people that are saying they're not going to watch Doctor Who ever again, of course they are. Picard. The last episode of Picard was fantastic, and it was real Star Trek, real Next Generation, and it was a love letter to the fans and to the Next Generation. And then one certain YouTuber, I won't mention them, said it was badly written, badly acted. Patrick Stewart's a Shakespearean actor. Yes, we all have bad days, but it was brilliant. It was an excellent episode. The only bad thing I can say about this series, Picard, is I think it all boils down to one episode. It could all be done in one episode. Maybe a two-parter. But I applaud them for trying something different. It's like with Star Wars. They said The Force Awakens was too similar. They try something different with The Last Jedi, and they say it's not Star Wars. And then do it again with Rise of Skywalker, and they say they just can't win. You see, the trouble with Doctor Who is it's 57 years old, and whatever you're gonna write, some fan's gonna say, well, he did this, and then he said this, and you can't watch 57 years of programming and get it right if you're a writer. It's a very difficult job. I understand where they're coming from. I didn't enjoy the last episode. It was pretty boring. It didn't mean a lot. But then again, look at the 1996 TV movie. None of that. Is it canon? I just don't know. I mean, he's saying it's our film. The writers say now that if there's a plot hole, that they were lying or things like that. I think this is going to be retconned. If a new showrunner comes in after this next series, or if there is going to be a next series after that, it'll be retconned, and they'll say that the Master was lying, blah blah blah, because there's just so many plot holes in it. Anyway, I'm not going to. I'm going to say this again. I'm not going to put down Doctor Who because it's fantastic. It's never been that. I'm going to say interesting, but it has always been interesting. You're always watching it just because you don't want to miss something important. Some episodes have been boring over the years. They've been really boring, and it was a different time. So I can see these YouTubers rubbing their hands with the feeling the ratings were terrible. But we've had that before in the late 80s when the show got cancelled the first time. I mean, God forbid if there's a really good episode of anything. Like Picard, as I say, it was a really good episode, but this person didn't like it at all. God forbid if they'd have liked it. How many viewers would he have lost because he'd liked something? And these shows hardly talk about The Witcher because it was brilliant and it's good, so nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about Game of Thrones. I mean, yeah, of course there was plenty of channels about Game of Thrones, but these Fandom Menace channels wouldn't talk about it until season 8. Now, I haven't watched it. I watched the first episode ever, and I've not watched it. I'm thinking about watching it through, but I can't really talk about it, but I've heard that season 8 was terrible, and these Fandom Menace channels were rubbing their hands. They could finally get their views by tearing this programme apart. And that's what they're doing with Doctor Who. They won't stop talking about it. Stop. That's what gets me. If you don't like something, don't watch it. Stop watching it. Stop talking about it. Now, I've done some reviews on my YouTube channel on programmes that I like. I've called it what should you watch. But the things that I've been reviewing is always something I like Stranger Things and The Boys. I just put them up to let people know that these programmes are fantastic. Again, these Fandom Menace channels don't talk about The Boys. They don't talk about The Witcher. Why not? They talk about Star Trek, Picard, Star Trek Discovery, and Doctor Who, and Star Wars, because they're all going through difficult patches. And if they loved these programmes and films as much as they said, as I say, one of them's got Doctor Who figures behind him. He's got hundreds of them. He says he loves Doctor Who. Can't love it that much. No, I've not really enjoyed the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. I've watched them. Of course I have. I'll always watch Doctor Who. I really missed it this Sunday, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I've just started collecting Doctor Who figures again. So, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I love Doctor Who. I have to go back watching some of the old episodes to reassure me that Doctor Who is still fantastic. But as I say, I missed it. I will miss Picard when it's finished. I look forward to Fridays. Mandalorian, nobody talks about that. I've watched all that. I subscribed to Disney Plus. Even though I've watched all Mandalorian, I'll watch it all again. I want to watch the Clone Wars. There's a lot of spoilers out there about the Clone Wars, and I'm waiting to... I've only got another couple of weeks to wait, and I'll watch them then. It just makes me wonder what half of these channels would do if everything was brilliant. You've got to have poor things to have brilliant things, to be honest with you. You've got to have the rough with the smooth. So basically, this is just a rant about channels and podcasts that have gone away from their content. It's one certain YouTube channel that has really gone away from his content. He's a toy channel. I'm not going to say any more than that. But lately he's just become very political and talking about his hate of the movies, his hate of this, his hate of that. I don't know if he's lost the plot, to be honest with you. I've messaged him a couple of times and he's blocked me once. He started arguing with me about things. I don't know. I wasn't arguing with him. I was bigging him up. I was telling him, look, I love your channel. Just stick with your toys. Stick to toy videos. That's what people want. That's what people started watching you for, and that's what they want to watch. On a recent video, he actually called out other YouTubers. They were saying that their reviews aren't reviews. They're just people showing off their stuff. Well, I'm sorry, but we don't all get things shipped to them, given to them by their loyal fans and these companies that... because you've got so many views, you've got thousands of views, these companies are sending you toys. Us low-level YouTubers haven't got big companies sending the toys, haven't got the fan base as yet to be sending out free stuff. We've got to go out and buy it. So it is our stuff. Yeah, you're right. It is our stuff and we're happy to have it. And I'd love to go out and buy things that I don't collect just to show my YouTube channel. But I can't afford. I buy things I like. Recently, I've diversified into other collecting areas. I'm scouring eBay just to find really cheap job lots of other lines. I've got some Action Force, which had a little G.I. Joe in, actually. And I was cleaning it out and the little rubber band snapped, which apparently is quite often that happens. So I'm looking for a little rubber band to put him back together. But yeah, I've got a little Action Force. I've got a turtle. I found a turtle in a shop that actually is just around the corner from me, which I really didn't know about, which I accidentally found. That's where I've got some of my Doctor Who figures from too. There you go, see, I've just brought it back to toys again. Not Star Wars toys this time. That's why it's not on the Star Wars Toy Podcast. As I said, I'm trying to diversify my collecting. I've got a couple of Star Trek figures still carded. I remember having some back in the day when Next Generation first came out. I'm trying to learn about other lines. I'd like some He-Man figures, actually. I've been looking for some He-Man. Mosquito, is it called? That looks pretty cool. It's I don't know if it's a rare figure, but a lot of people quite like that, so that's the one I'm looking for. Obviously I want He-Man and Skeletor and all the first, what is it, 6 or 8 that came out in 1982. See, I'm trying to learn about other lines as well. And who knows, I might end up doing a toy podcast as well as a Star Wars toy podcast. I'd have to up my limit on lip sync to do that though, so that's not going to be for a while. I'm going to do them on YouTube. I do a lot of different toys on YouTube. The majority is always going to be Star Wars. Don't worry about that. But that's my whole point. I'm never going to go away from the Star Wars toys on the Star Wars Toy Podcast. And my channel, I know I do a bit of gaming on my YouTube channel, but I'm never going to go away from the toys. I'm never going to talk about movies on a toy video. I talk about movies. I've talked about movies and reviewed movies on the same channel, but in a different playlist. I think that's allowed. I don't want to click on a toy video and listen to somebody moaning about the movies or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm defeating my own argument there, but you know what I mean. You're not clicking on a toy video to hear me talk about movies. You're not listening to my podcasts to hear me talking about TV programs or to hear me moan about things. Yes, I do moan about House Bros sometimes. Not recently because they've become really, really good. We did have some issues with distribution, which is still not brilliant, but like the sculpts and everything like that, they've really upped their game recently. And in fact, in the last couple of years, they've listened to fans and listened to what we want. So my podcast is never going to be talking about bad things unless it's repro or anything like that. It's just I really started it because I'm sick of newbies getting thrown out of this hobby. I know I've talked about the groups on Facebook before. If you're a newbie and you ask a silly question, you get banned, you get thrown off. I'm here. I want to answer those silly questions for you. I want more people in the hobby. I want more people to like Star Wars. I want more people to have Star Wars. I don't want all these dealers to have everything and raise the prices. I did my last podcast to help educate people about Star Wars figures and everything related to Star Wars collecting. The TSW toy box, it was called. And now I'm doing this Star Wars toy podcast off my own back. I'm paying Lipsing to put it out to you. So I'm not making money. I'm actually losing money doing this podcast. Well, not this podcast. This is just a bit of an extra. But the podcast I do, I'm actually losing money by doing it. But I do it because I love doing it. I love talking about Star Wars toys. I love talking about toys, period. But the Star Wars toys are my passion. And I will always talk about them. I'll always collect them. And I'll always talk to other collectors about, not just Star Wars, about all toys. Anyway, I think that's enough for now of my little rant. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understood it. I hope it makes sense. And I hope you'll give me some feedback. So until next time, may the toys be with you.